celebrating a century of the Reading Public Museum. I'm Jill Horner. This is Comcast Newsmakers. With me is Scott Schweigert. He is the Curator of Art and Civilization for the Reading Public Museum. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thanks, Jill.
You're celebrating a centennial at the museum, and you're doing that in a variety of different ways. You're bringing things from your collection out to the public that really represent art in this region.
Exactly. The show Painters of Berks, it features more than 60 paintings by artists of the 19th and 20th century, and it's up in our second floor temporary galleries. So we've got everything from portraits to landscapes and still lives by some of the best known artists of the region.
And let's talk a little bit about some of these images in particular. One is a recognizable sight, but we may not know it from this image. It's the 422 Morgantown bypass, but what we see there is really a canal.
Right. It's where the Schuylkill River bends, and the mountain nearby is called Neversink Mountain. And this is a scene probably from the late 19th century. You see some figures looking out on this vista, but yes, it has changed dramatically since that time. So it's great to be able to have a look at what the region looked like, and you can see why so many of these artists had great subject matter all around them here in Berks County.
Including pastoral scenes. And the next one is by an artist, Christopher Scheer. Right. Christopher Scheer also has a connection to the Reading Public Museum.
That's right. Early on, actually right around 1913, he convinced Levi Mengel, the founder of the museum, that any museum worth its salt had to have art as part of its collection. So he actually had my job about 100 years ago. He was the first curator of art, and he was also a painter. So he's probably the most prolific of the Berks County painters, and his name is really synonymous with Berks County art.
And the next image is by Dan Devlin. It's a summer scene. It's part of a pair. It's really a beautiful image and takes us to another time and another way to think about summer.
Right. It really is sort of a bucolic, idyllic landscape where there's a picnic going on and there's haying in the background. So it sort of captures that Americana rural life aspect that so many of these artists were drawn to.
And these are just some of the images that we can see as part of the Painters of Berks. And you really take it from the 1820s through the 20th century.
Right. So it's everything from the first artists, most of which were miniaturists working as portrait artists. In the 1820s, some of them were immigrants, some of them were local, born locally, and then it moves all the way up to William Baziotes in the 1950s and Keith Haring in the 1980s.
And I want to quickly ask you about another exhibit that's running in conjunction, 100 Years and Counting. Tell us about that one.
Right, that show is great. It's in the adjacent galleries, and it features some of the earliest objects to enter the collection, some of Levi Mengel's personal objects, a look back at the foundation of the museum, how it all got started, and it's a fantastic retrospective of the museum's history.
And we just have a short time left, but when you think about how the collection has grown in that century, give us an idea as to how extensive it is today.
Right. Well, in the 19-teens, there were about 60 paintings or so, and there are lots of correspondences about how they were outgrowing the space that they had available. Now there are hundreds and hundreds of paintings in the museum's collection, and some things never change. There's storage is still an issue, but yeah, the growth in the collection over the last 100 years has been spectacular. But one thing remains, that's the quality of the collection, and so we're excited to bring these shows to the public.
Thanks for being with us. We've been talking with Scott Schweigert. I'm Jill Horner for Comcast Newsmakers.